it's rare that I meet a Christian who set out to accomplish something great and serve the Lord, and it ended up going exactly the way they set out to accomplish. And then, though, you get a lot of like young adults, and I was one of them as well, where you're just so panicked that you're going to miss the will of God. I'm a firm believer that you're not going to get it right. Like, you're going to make the wrong turn along the way, but I've seen too much now where God makes my wrong moves right moves.
Bryce, we wanted to just get to know you and how God has led you to where you're at. So right now, Bryce is a monster truck driver. He's on, what is the circuit?
Yeah, it's Monster Jam.
Monster Jam.
But yeah, that's my full-time gig. So everybody should just right away write their high school guidance counselor a very harsh email that was not a career option. But yeah, I've been full-time in Monster Jam, believe it or not, for 10 years. Did I grow up around monster trucks? No.
Yeah.
I did not. When I first talked to Monster Jam, they said, have you ever been to an event? And my answer was, I have not. They said, well, you should probably go see it first before we bring you up to drive one. I said, that's pretty fair. And I went to Greensboro Coliseum, and I always like to say, you never forget the first time you see a 12,000-pound truck fly through the air. And it was in that moment, I think it was the Superman truck, if I remember it right, and it went off of a jump, and I was like, I got to do that. But it was so crazy because I did not grow up around monster trucks, and I just didn't understand what it would take just from this sport specifically. But I did grow up in motorsports. So my dream growing up was to be in professional drag racing. And so I grew up, my grandfather had a drag strip up in Clay City, Kentucky. I spent all my summers up there. And during the week, I would weed eat the fence line. And on the weekend, I would get to drive our little junior dragster going 50 miles an hour at 9 years old. And I thought I was on a spaceship.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was just such a cool upbringing. And then we went professional in drag racing. My grandfather owned a Top Fuel dragster. Those are the long, skinny cars that if you ever see them on TV that go 300 miles an hour in 4 seconds, that was the dream. And so I actually got a chance to get my license in it, and we were going to go and make a thing of it. And I was getting told no time and time again. Like one of the most difficult moments of my life was just after 3 years of me driving the Top Fuel dragster, that dream and we got little sponsorship money here and there. Like it was good, but I had 7 jobs all funneling into that dream, and it just wasn't working. And it was just one of those times like, yeah, okay, so the economy wasn't helping the situation. I was 21 years old, so I didn't know what to do. Looking back, I mean, I was so broke, I left a sponsorship packet with one of these companies, and they just ghosted me. I was so aggravated because I didn't have the money to print off another sponsorship packet. I was driving them nuts trying to get my sponsorship packet back. So I was just frustrated because nothing was working. But I came out of that business office, and there was a softball game going on through the woods. And it was dark and at the night, and all that stuff. And they were laughing and having so much fun. And I remember feeling sorry, like, why is this so hard? They're having more fun than I am. I'm miserable. And here I am trying to serve you, Lord. And nothing is working out. But we talk about the birth, death, and resurrection of a dream. I just believe that every God-given dream goes through those stages. And most Christians give up in the death stage because they don't know they're in it. The best thing that I could tell anybody that encourages it, it's like when God resurrects that dream, that's that Ephesians 3:20 moment of like, he's going to resurrect it in a bigger, badder, better way than you could have ever thought it would go. And then you get to do it for his sake and not your own. That's the whole purpose of that. He's not trying to drag me through the mud, but that death stage had to allow or force me to let go of that dream. And now he's resurrected it in a way now over these last 10 years through monster trucks. It looks different, but there's no way I could have put those puzzle pieces together in my life. And now I've seen too much. I cannot go back. I cannot lose. I can't. If I'm serving the Lord and I'm trying to figure it out, I'm going to make wrong moves along the way. I just cannot lose. He's going to get me eventually to where he wants me to go. And that's all I want it to look like.
So you'd say Monster Jam has become the resurrection of that dream.
Yes. And what's so cool, though, is my sophomore year at Campbell, I met a kid that grew up with the Gravedigger family.
Oh, wow.
So I was really struggling in college. I felt like I was wasting my time there. But right before I left that spring, I hosted a guy named Morgan Kane. Grew up with the Gravedigger family, like I said. And then it wasn't until probably 4 years after that, when I hosted him, that he found out I got out of drag racing. Right. And he said, hey, you need to talk to Monster Jam. And then that's how that original conversation started happening. We're like, I don't know. I mean, I never grew up around monster trucks. But that's how that connection even happened. It's like God had me there at Campbell just long enough. And I didn't know it in that time. I just
to make that one connection.
Just to make that one connection, because he knew I was going to go off. I was going to work my tail off. I was going to use Top Fuel drag racing to evangelize. I was doing everything I thought was right. And then I get into Monster Jam. And when I tell you guys, I felt like God was pulling the reins on me the whole time. I went through like just years of it was it was fun, but I wasn't getting on the microphone. I never felt released to do that. And that wasn't the plan. I remember, praying and saying, God, I'm not ashamed. But I feel like, again, I was, even now in this big platform, I was like, am I wasting the time or the opportunities to praise your name? And I was on one knee praying before I climbed up in the truck before the event.
Yeah.
And it was one of those times I heard the audible voice of God say to me, I'm going to raise you up in my time, not yours. And so then it calmed me down, because I was like, first of all, it was going, okay, so you are going to raise me up to glorify you. It is clear that God is now saying, okay, man, it's time. I'm going to raise you up. And as you do that, you're going to watch it. The fact that every step of the way, you're going to see that it's me doing it. The speaking opportunities are they're flowing in right now. It's funny too, because I've always done a lot of speaking in the corporate space through motorsports. I did not expect to do as much faith-based speaking. And all of a sudden, that is it's just flooded in. And I have never gotten as good of results on the track, actually driving a monster truck, as I have this season. And again, everyone's like, what changed this year? I was always, fourth, fifth, maybe in the points. This year, I was leading points for a really, really long time. I'll probably end up finishing this weekend at third in the point series. But every time I look at them, and I'm just like, it's clear to me that God wanted me to have the results this year on the track. If God created us, as Psalm 139 says, he knit you together in your mother's womb, that all the days ordained for you were written in his book before one of them came to be. If that's true, then he molded each of us for very specific purposes. Just like my monster truck, it didn't come off of a Ford dealership lot, off of a conveyor belt with thousands of trucks. It was built at the hand of a builder, an engineer, kind of a mad scientist, if you will, that imagined what a monster truck would look like, sound like, perform at. How can we make this thing do backflips and jump 45 feet in the air without breaking in half when it lands? That came out of someone's mind and came together. That's what the Lord is doing with us. He molded us, he knit us together, and again, not for your own story, but for his glory. The results will come. They'll just be in his time, not yours.